All right. Let's dive into the world of shamanic fire ceremonies.
Yeah.
We're going deep with 2 YouTube videos by shaman Jon Rasmussen.
Okay.
And they are packed with insights about the power of fire for cleansing, transformation, and even manifestation.
I like it.
Are you ready to get fired up?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Shaman Jon, he has a really unique perspective.
Okay.
He talks about how fire isn't just this like external element.
Yeah.
You know, like you build a bonfire, you have a fireplace. It's this force that's constantly at work within us as well.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Right.
He uses examples like digestion, metabolism, even our breath as fueling this inner fire.
Right.
So we are literally combusting to create energy, but how does that connect to our emotions?
Well, think of it this way. Just like undigested food
Okay.
can cause blockages and discomfort in our physical body. Shaman Jon suggests that unprocessed emotions can do the same thing to us, but on an emotional level.
So those suppressed emotions become a kind of fuel waiting to be ignited.
Exactly.
It reminds me of how compressed organic matter can create such a powerful burst of energy when it's finally released.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how Shaman Jon uses breath work, visualization, and ritual to help people kind of combust this emotional fuel in a safe and controlled way in the ceremonial setting.
He even talks about these 6 archetypal, painful human experiences.
Yes.
Loss, abuse, betrayal, abandonment, neglect, and engulfment.
Yes.
And he really thinks that these categories cover pretty much any painful situation that we can go through.
I find it interesting that he doesn't suggest that these 6 are the only kinds of pain we can feel, but they're like these core wounds that can manifest in a lot of different ways.
Okay.
So he's encouraging us to look at our own experiences and see if we can identify patterns or common threads. Are there things that keep happening to us over and over again that are maybe rooted in one of these original wounds?
Do you think that those 6 categories are universal? Or could there be cultural variations?
That's a great question. It'd be interesting to explore if other cultures identify different core wounds or if these 6 resonate across different societies. But he does emphasize the importance of the feminine aspect of shamanism when it comes to addressing these.
Now, what exactly does he mean by feminine aspect? I think some listeners might not be familiar with that term.
Right. So he's referring to qualities like receptivity, intuition, connection to the earth, allowing emotions to flow freely rather than suppressing them. And it's contrasted with a more masculine approach that might emphasize intellectualizing or analyzing pain, which sometimes can keep us stuck up in our heads.
So it's about feeling our way through the pain.
Precisely.
Rather than just thinking about it.
Yeah, and what I find really empowering about Shaman Jon's approach is that he really believes we can clear past traumas in the present moment. We don't have to wait for some future event or lifetime to heal.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
But how does that actually work?
Right.
Does he provide any specific techniques for clearing those traumas?
He does.
Okay.
One of the key techniques he emphasizes is fire ceremony.
Okay.
It's a way to kind of ritualistically bring our intentions into the physical realm. You know, do something tangible to make those shifts happen.
I'm curious to hear more about how that works.
Okay.
What exactly does a fire ceremony entail?
Well, Shaman Jon, he describes it as a way to intentionally burn away what no longer serves us, whether that's negative emotions, limiting beliefs, or past traumas. He guides people to think about the worst of it and then symbolically blow it into a stick that will be burned in the fire.
Wow. Just imagining gathering all those fears, doubts, painful memories, infusing them into that stick and watching them go up in smoke. That just feels incredibly cathartic. Would you say that that's the main purpose of the fire ceremony?
It's definitely a major aspect, but there's more to it than just releasing the negative. Shaman Jon also emphasizes the importance of blowing positive intentions and prayers into the stick as well. He even gives an example of simply asking to be of the greatest service, which he believes encompasses all other needs.
That's interesting. It's like aligning your energy with the desire to contribute and letting the universe guide you towards fulfilling your purpose.
Yeah.
But is there a specific type of fire or setting required for this ceremony? Does it have to be a big bonfire?
He actually says that fire ceremony is available anytime, anywhere.
Wow.
It doesn't have to be a grand spectacle. You could do it with a single candle or even just a small fire-safe container.
So it's really about the intention and the energy you bring to the practice.
Yeah, and he encourages finding what works best for you.
Okay.
He even mentions if you feel like you've forgotten to include something during a ceremony, you can always burn a stick later and add it to the fire.
Yeah. That's a great reminder that it's an ongoing process, not just a one-time event.
Absolutely.
We can continually refine and release as we move forward.
Exactly.
But I'm curious about the practical aspects. Does he mention any specific breathing techniques?
He does.
Okay.
He teaches a specific breathing technique to help ignite the inner fire. It's a rapid breath in through the nose, almost like a dragon's breath, which helps to generate heat and energy in the body.
I've tried that before, and it definitely gets things moving.
It does.
Does he also talk about working with the Earth's energy during the ceremony?
Yes. He emphasizes grounding and connecting to the Earth's energy. He guides people through a visualization of their energy flowing down into the Earth, where it's absorbed and transformed. It's like tapping into the Earth's natural ability to recycle and renew.
It's like we're surrendering our burdens to the Earth, trusting that it can handle them, transform them into something positive.
And that's just one of the many ways Shaman Jon suggests that we can work with the elements to support our healing and transformation.
So what are some other ways that we can work with the elements in our daily lives? Do we need to perform a full fire ceremony?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Shaman Jon emphasizes that simple acts, like paying attention to our breath, feeling our feet on the ground, noticing the natural world around us, can all help us to reconnect with the elements and their power.
It's like rediscovering those innate connections we have to nature and the wisdom that comes with them.
Absolutely.
But I'm still curious about that breathing technique he mentioned. Could you elaborate on how that works?
Sure. Okay. So the rapid breathing through the nose, it helps to stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for our fight or flight response. And this can increase our heart rate, blood flow, alertness, and it gives us this boost of energy and focus.
So it's not just about generating heat in the body, but also about activating a specific energy within us.
Yes, it's about tapping into a primal energy that can help us to break through stagnation and move forward with more power and intention. It's like waking up the dormant fire within.
This is fascinating. I'm already feeling inspired to try some of these techniques.
Great.
What else does Shaman Jon suggest we can do to harness that inner fire?
One of the key things he emphasizes is the importance of gratitude. He encourages us to feel gratitude for the desired outcome, as if it were already happening.
It's about aligning our energy with what we want to create, rather than focusing on what's missing. But how can we practically incorporate that into our daily lives?
Well, Shaman Jon suggests starting small. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, take a moment to appreciate what's going right. Notice the simple things that bring you joy. The warmth of the sun, the taste of your food, the sound of laughter.
It's about shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance, even in the midst of challenges. And I love how he ties that back to the fire ceremony, suggesting that we can infuse that feeling of gratitude into the stick as we burn it.
Exactly. It's like we're sending that energy of gratitude out into the universe, setting the intention for our desires to manifest.
This is so empowering. It's like we have the ability to actively participate in shaping our reality.
Exactly.
Through our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
And that's one of the core messages of Shaman Jon's teachings. We are not passive bystanders in our lives. We have the power to create change both within ourselves and in the world around us.
This has been incredibly insightful so far. I'm eager to hear more about how these techniques and principles can be applied in our daily lives. What else did we learn from these videos?
Well, one of the things that really stood out to me was Shaman Jon's own personal journey with shamanism.
Okay.
He shares how he wasn't always this calm and centered guide. In fact, he describes himself as kind of this fired-up kid, someone who was deeply sensitive and aware of the world's suffering, which often manifested as like these intense emotions.
It sounds like his personal experience really shaped his understanding of the power of fire and how to work with it constructively.
He talks about how he had to learn to channel that inner fire, to harness it for healing and transformation, rather than letting it consume him.
I'm curious to hear more about how he went about doing that. Did he have any mentors or guides along the way?
He does mention working with various teachers and healers from different traditions. But he also emphasizes the importance of personal exploration and experimentation. He encourages people to find what works best for them, to create their own unique path.
It's like he's saying there's no one-size-fits-all approach to shamanism, or any spiritual practice for that matter.
Exactly.
It's about finding what resonates with your own soul.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so fascinating. It's not a rigid dogma. It's an invitation to explore, to discover your own inner wisdom, and connect with these powerful forces that are available to all of us.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far.
Yeah.
We've learned so much about the concept of inner fire, the power of fire ceremonies, and the importance of connecting with nature. I can't wait to explore even more in the next part of our discussion.
I'm excited to continue as well. We still have so much to uncover.
So for our listeners, stay tuned as we delve even deeper into the world of shamanic fire ceremonies and the transformative power of fire.
We'll be right back after a short break. We've been exploring the concept of fire as a transformative force, both within us and in the world around us.
Yeah.
And Shaman Jon, he offers some really interesting techniques for harnessing this power.
It's incredible how he seamlessly blends the mystical and the practical. You know, he talks about connecting with spirits and calling on forces of nature. Yeah. But then he also emphasizes the importance of breath work, visualization, and the physical act of burning.
It's that integration of the spiritual and the tangible that makes Shaman Jon's approach so compelling. You know, he's not suggesting that we escape reality, but rather that we bring those spiritual insights and practices into our everyday lives.
And what I appreciate is that he emphasizes that you don't have to be a trained shaman to do this work. We all have the capacity to connect with the earth, to harness the power of the elements, and to create our own rituals for healing and transformation.
He even suggests that our modern Western culture has become somewhat disconnected from these ancient practices, and that this disconnection contributes to the imbalance and dis-ease that we see in the world today.
Yeah. It's like we've forgotten our innate connection to nature and the wisdom that's available to us when we tap into it.
Absolutely.
It makes me wonder if there are other cultures that have maintained a stronger connection to these practices.
That's a great point. It would be fascinating to explore how different cultures around the world have approached the concept of fire and its transformative power throughout history. But Shaman Jon, he offers some simple ways that we can start to reclaim that connection in our own lives.
He mentioned paying attention to our breath, feeling our feet on the ground, and simply noticing the natural world around us.
Those are great starting points.
Yeah.
And from there, we can start to experiment with simple fire ceremonies, whether it's lighting a candle with intention or burning a stick with our prayers and gratitude. He even encourages people to find their own unique way of working with fire. It doesn't have to follow any specific rules or dogma.
So it's really about the intention and the personal meaning we bring to the practice, rather than adhering to strict rituals.
Shaman Jon emphasizes that what matters most is that it feels authentic and empowering for you. It's about finding what resonates with your own soul and allows you to connect with the transformative power of fire in a way that feels meaningful and true.
That's so important. It reminds us that we have the agency to shape our own spiritual practices and connect with the divine in ways that feel right for us.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious about the potential impact of these practices. Does Shaman Jon talk about the shifts that can occur?
He does.
Okay.
He talks about the ripple effect.
Okay.
How our individual healing and transformation can radiate outwards and impact the collective. He believes that when we heal ourselves, we contribute to healing the world.
That's a beautiful thought. It suggests that even small personal acts of transformation can have a larger impact than we might realize.
Exactly. And it highlights the interconnectedness of all things. You know, our thoughts, feelings, and actions have an impact beyond ourselves, whether we're aware of it or not.
This deep dive has definitely sparked something within me. It's given me a newfound appreciation for the power of fire, not just as a physical element, but as a symbol of transformation and renewal. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What resonated most with you from Shaman Jon's teachings?
For me, it's the emphasis on personal empowerment. You know, Shaman Jon, he doesn't present himself as some sort of guru with all the answers. Instead, he empowers individuals to take ownership of their own healing and transformation. He provides tools and insights. But ultimately, it's up to each person to find their own path and connect with their own inner wisdom.
I agree. There's a sense of responsibility that comes with that empowerment, but also a sense of freedom and possibility.
Exactly. It's not about waiting for someone else to fix us or for life to magically get better. It's about recognizing that we have the power to create the change we desire.
And he reminds us that we don't have to do it alone. You know, we can tap into the support of the earth, the elements, the divine forces that surround us.
Absolutely. He encourages us to view those forces not as separate from ourselves, but as extensions of our own being, aspects of this interconnected web of life that we're all a part of.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. It's about recognizing that we're not isolated individuals struggling against the world, but rather integral parts of a vast and interconnected universe.
Precisely. And that realization can be incredibly liberating because it allows us to tap into a source of strength and wisdom that extends far beyond our limited human perception.
This deep dive has definitely expanded my understanding of shamanism and the transformative power of fire. I'm feeling inspired to explore these concepts further and see how I can integrate them into my own life.
Me too. And for our listeners who are feeling similarly inspired, Shaman Jon, he offers a wealth of resources. Books, videos, workshops, even online communities where you can learn more and connect with others who are exploring these paths.
That's wonderful. It's encouraging to know that there are so many ways to engage with these practices and find support along the way. But I'm curious to hear more about what resonated with you personally. What specific insights or techniques stood out to you as particularly powerful or transformative?
One of the things that really struck me was Shaman Jon's perspective on enlightenment. He describes it not as this lofty, unattainable state, but rather as a lack of confusion.
That's an interesting way to frame it. Could you elaborate on what he means by that?
He suggests that when we release the limiting beliefs, doubts and fears that cloud our perception, we create space for clarity and purpose to emerge. It's like clearing away the mental clutter so that we can see more clearly the path that's unfolding before us.
So it's not about achieving some sort of perfect state of bliss, but rather about cultivating a sense of inner knowing and trust in our own intuition.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the wisdom that already resides within us and allowing it to guide our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
That's a much more accessible, empowering perspective on enlightenment than the traditional view of it as something only attainable through years of intense spiritual practice. It suggests that we can all tap into that clarity and purpose regardless of our background or level of experience.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Shaman Jon's teaching so appealing. He doesn't create barriers or exclusivity. He invites everyone to participate in this journey of self-discovery and transformation.
This has been a truly enlightening conversation. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of what Shaman Jon has to offer, but we've gained some valuable insights into the transformative power of fire and the potential for healing and growth that exists within each of us.
I agree. And I hope this deep dive has inspired our listeners to explore these concepts further and discover what resonates with them.
But before we wrap up, I'd like to revisit the concept of working with the elements. Shaman Jon mentioned fire and earth.
Right.
But are there other elements we can connect with?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In addition to fire and earth, Shaman Jon also talks about the importance of working with water and air.
Oh, that's right. I'm eager to learn more about how he incorporates those elements into his practice. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
He sees water as a symbol of purification and emotional release. He encourages people to connect with water through practices like ritual bathing, spending time near bodies of water, or even just visualizing water, cleansing and purifying their energy field.
That makes sense. Water has always had a calming and cleansing effect on me. What about air? How does he suggest we work with that element?
Air represents breath, communication, and the power of intention. He teaches specific breathing techniques to help people connect with the life force energy that flows through the air we breathe. And he emphasizes the importance of speaking our intentions aloud. Using our voices to manifest our desires.
I think it's not just about passively breathing, it's about actively engaging with the breath and using it as a tool for transformation.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing the power of our words to shape our reality.
This is so fascinating. I'm already feeling inspired to experiment with these different ways of connecting with the elements. Do you have any personal experiences working with water or air that you'd like to share?
One practice that I found particularly powerful is spending time near moving water, a river, a stream, even just a fountain. The sound and movement of the water have a very soothing and grounding effect. And I often find that it helps me to release any pent-up emotions or stress.
I can definitely relate to that. There's something so mesmerizing and calming about watching water flow. It's like it washes away all the mental chatter and allows you to connect with a deeper sense of peace.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that just as water can cleanse and purify our physical bodies, it can also do the same for our emotional and energetic bodies.
This is a beautiful reminder that we're surrounded by these powerful forces of nature that are always available to support us if we know how to connect with them.
Absolutely. And that's one of the key takeaways from Shaman Jon's teachings. We're not separate from nature. We're an integral part of it. And when we reconnect with that truth, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities for healing, growth, and transformation.
Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up this deep dive into Shaman Jon Rasmussen's teachings on fire ceremonies. Man, I'm still thinking about that idea that we can work with the elements, even in these simple ways, to help us heal and transform.
It's a powerful concept, isn't it? And it speaks to, you know, the interconnectedness of everything. We're not separate from nature, but we're a part of this incredible web of energy and life.
One thing that really struck me is that Shaman Jon, he doesn't shy away from the more mystical aspects of shamanism. You know, he talks about connecting with spirits, calling on forces of nature, sending energy out into the universe. It's fascinating how he blends those concepts with the more practical, down-to-earth elements like breath work and visualization.
It's that blend of the mystical and the mundane that makes shamanism so compelling. It's not just about escaping into some ethereal realm.
Right.
It's about bringing those spiritual insights and practices into our everyday lives.
And he really stresses that you don't have to be a trained shaman to do this work. He says we all have the capacity to connect with the earth, harness the power of the elements, and create our own rituals for healing and transformation.
He even suggests that our modern Western culture has become disconnected from these ancient practices, and that's part of the reason why we're experiencing so much disease and imbalance.
It's like we've forgotten our innate connection to nature and the wisdom that's available to us when we tap into it.
But Shaman Jon reminds us that it's never too late to reclaim that connection. He suggests starting with simple practices like paying attention to our breath, feeling our feet on the ground, noticing the natural world around us.
And from there, we can start to experiment with simple fire ceremonies, whether it's lighting a candle with intention or burning a stick with our prayers and gratitude.
He even encourages us to find our own unique way of working with fire. It doesn't have to look a certain way or follow a specific set of rules. What matters is that it feels authentic and empowering for you.
I love that emphasis on personal empowerment. It's not about blindly following someone else's dogma. It's about discovering what resonates with your own soul and creating a practice that feels meaningful and true for you.
Exactly. And as we engage with these practices, we might be surprised by the shifts that occur, not just in our own lives, but in the world around us.
It's like that ripple effect you mentioned earlier. When we heal ourselves, we heal the world.
Precisely. And I think that's a powerful message to leave our listeners with. We all have the potential to create positive change, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
I feel so inspired by Shaman Jon's teachings and the possibilities they offer. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me.
Me too. It's reminded me of the importance of staying connected to nature, to our own inner wisdom, and to the transformative power that's available to us all.
So for our listeners, if you are feeling called to explore fire ceremony further, I encourage you to do some research. Find resources that resonate with you. Maybe even give it a try.
Remember, you don't need any special training or equipment to get started. You can create a simple fire ceremony with just a candle and a quiet space. What matters most is the intention you bring to the practice.
And if you're not ready for fire ceremony just yet, that's okay too. Maybe start by incorporating some of the other practices we discussed. Paying attention to your breath, spending time in nature, or simply reflecting on the concept of inner fire and how it might be showing up in your life right now.
Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just follow your intuition and see where it leads you.
Beautifully said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of shamanic fire ceremonies. We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
And until next time, may you find warmth, clarity, and transformation in the fire that burns within you.